Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle that digital chaos. You know, the one that lives on all our computers. We're talking about those mountains of files that just keep growing and how we can finally get them under control using some incredibly powerful tools that are probably already on your machine. Okay, let's jump right in.
I mean, seriously, who hasn't felt this? It's that moment you look at your desktop and it's just a disaster. Folders everywhere, it feels like a digital scavenger hunt just to find one file. It's a feeling we all know for sure.
And oh, the headaches are just universal, aren't they? You've got that classic, this file is too big to email, or my personal favorite, your hard drive is full, again. Not to mention that constant nagging fear, what if I lose all my photos? Or just trying to move a giant folder from one place to another. Ugh. The good news is, there are solutions, and that's exactly what we're diving into.
All right. First up on our list is the digital shrink ray. Yep, we're talking about data compression. This is how we take those massive files and, kind of like magic, make them small.
So you're probably asking, how does that even work? Well, the big idea behind it is actually super simple. It's all about getting rid of redundancy. Imagine you have to write the same word down 100 times. You wouldn't do that, would you? You'd find a shortcut. That's exactly what compression algorithms do with your data.
A perfect example is a technique called run-length encoding. Let's say you have an image that's just a big black square. Instead of your computer storing black pixel, thousands and thousands of times, it just says, hey, here are 10,000 black pixels. Boom. Same exact information, but stored way, way smarter.
And the difference this makes? It's huge. That simple 100 by 100 black image, if you stored it the dumb way, would be about 30,000 bytes. But by just describing it intelligently, we can slash that number way, way down.
Okay, so there's a really important thing to know here. There are two main flavors of compression. You've definitely run into lossy compression before. That's what JPEGs and MP3s use. It makes files super small by throwing away a little bit of data you probably won't notice. But what we're talking about today is lossless compression. Think of it as the perfectionist. It's for things like documents or code, where you absolutely cannot lose a single bit of information. When you uncompress it, you get a perfect, bit-for-bit identical copy of the original.
So let's meet a couple of the classic tools for this, gzip and bzip2, and just look at what they can do. Gzip can take a text file that's almost 16,000 bytes and just crush it down to around 3,200. That's awesome. And then there's bzip2, which uses a slightly different method to get it even smaller, though it might take a little bit longer to do its thing. Now, here's a super important pro tip. Don't be compressive compulsive. What does that mean? It means don't try to compress something that's already compressed, like a JPEG or an MP3. All the easy redundancy is gone. If you try, you'll just add extra baggage. And believe it or not, you can actually make the file bigger. No joke.
Okay, so shrinking one file is great, but what happens when you have a whole project with hundreds, maybe thousands of files? You're not going to compress them one by one. That's where our next tool comes in. Think of it as a digital moving box. We're talking about archiving.
And the granddaddy of this is a tool called tar. It literally stands for tape archive. I mean, the name itself tells you how old it is. It was made for backing stuff up to, magnetic tapes. But its purpose is totally timeless. Take a bunch of files, a whole directory structure, and pack it all up into one single file. Now, key thing to remember here, tar just packs things up. It doesn't shrink them.
Yeah, I know. The commands can look a little weird at first, but they actually make sense when you break them down. You're just telling the program tar to C for create and archive, F for the file you want to call it, like playground.tar, and then you just tell it what to put inside, in this case, the playground folder. See? Not so scary.
But here is where the real magic happens. This is the perfect combo. You take tar and you take gzip, and you put them together. So first you use tar to pack everything into that one big moving box. Then you use gzip to shrink the entire box. And what you get is a .tgz file, one single, tidy, small file that's super easy to handle.
And this simple combo unlocks some mind-blowing tricks. I mean, check this out. You can write a single command that tells a computer on the other side of the world to bundle up a folder with tar. Then it sends that bundle screaming across the network to you, and another tar command on your computer just catches it and unpacks it instantly. The whole thing happens in one go. It's just so elegant and powerful.
All right, we've shrunk files, we've bundled them. Now for the final boss level, backups. Specifically, how do we keep a backup perfectly in sync without having to copy everything every single time? For this, we need more than just a copier. We need a smart copier.
And that's where rsync comes in. Honestly, this tool is an absolute game changer. It's not your average copy-paste. rsync is brilliant. It looks at what you have and what you want to back up, and it figures out the exact differences, the delta. Then, it only sends the pieces that have actually changed. It's incredibly efficient. So let's walk through it. The very first time you run a backup with rsync, sure, it has to do the hard work. It's got to copy everything from point A to point B. That initial transfer is the big one.
But then, life happens. You go back to work. You change a few words in a document. You tweak one little line of code. Just one tiny change in a folder that's gigabytes in size.
So what happens the next time you run that backup? This is what's so amazing. rsync looks at everything, sees that only that one little file has changed, and it sends only the changes. That's it. A backup that might have taken an hour before, now it's done in seconds. That is the genius of rsync.
And it's not just about speed, it's so powerful. You can tell it to preserve every little detail about your files. You can even have it delete files on the backup if you deleted them on your end to keep it a perfect mirror. And it doesn't care if you're backing up to a USB drive plugged into your laptop or a server in another country.
Okay, so let's zoom out and put this all together. What we've really been doing here is building a powerful toolkit for wrangling our digital lives. When you boil it all down, it's about 3 simple jobs. First, you shrink your files to make them smaller using something like gzip. Second, you bundle a whole mess of files into one neat package with tar. And third, you sync your data to create smart, fast backups using rsync. Shrink, bundle, and sync. That's the whole game.
You know, it's easy to look at these simple text-based tools and think they're old, obsolete. But nothing could be further from the truth. These are the unsung heroes working behind the scenes of the modern internet. The principles, and often the exact same programs, are powering huge, huge systems all around us every single day.
It just goes to show you that the simplest ideas are often the most powerful and the ones that really last. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? What other amazing tools are just sitting there on your computer, hidden in plain sight, just waiting for you to find them?